Today's file is not about a creature, an object, or a place. It is about a decision. About the moment the Foundation, the very organization built to protect humanity from the anomalous, turned its weapons on the world. And it is also about the man who watched it happen. SCP-5000 is not a monster. It's a suit, a containment-grade humanoid exoframe built by the Foundation. Experimental, functional, and uniquely anonymous. But the real anomaly isn't the machine, it's the data inside. Because when the suit was found, it was sealed shut. It contained a body. That of Foundation agent Pietro Wilson, who had died months earlier. And yet, the suit's logs show he'd been inside it for years, long after he should have been gone. Inside SCP-5000 was a message, a question scribbled in every log, etched into every fragment of corrupted data. One word, why? And what follows is not a file, it's a confession, a chronicle, a slow-motion collapse of trust, reason, and reality. SCP-5000 was discovered in a collapsed Foundation facility outside Reno, Nevada. It lay buried beneath tons of scorched concrete and rebar. A single humanoid figure embedded in the wreckage. The suit was sealed. No external ports, no data access, no energy signature. But it was intact. Recovery teams began extraction, assuming it was an old containment unit, damaged during internal warfare. Then came the autopsy. Inside, they found Pietro Wilson, a Foundation systems technician presumed dead nearly 5 years prior. No visible trauma, no signs of decomposition. His body temperature was only slightly below normal. He had been dead for 43 minutes. The suit's internal chronometer? It had been running continuously for 2,112 days. A gap. Not in technology, but in history. Pietro's official death log marked him as a victim of the Nephite breach in Site-06. But this suit, this ghost of a man sealed in steel, had been wandering far from any site for years after he was supposed to have perished. And then came the logs, thousands of them, all corrupted, all fragmented, all centered around a repeating question embedded in every directory. Why is the Foundation killing everyone? The internal memory was partially recoverable, and what it revealed rewrote the Foundation's legacy. Pietro had witnessed something that made him flee, not from an anomaly, not from the outside world, from the Foundation itself, because something had changed. Something had turned the protectors into executioners. The recovered logs from SCP-5000 are incomplete, broken by time, stress, and electromagnetic damage. But the fragments form a chilling mosaic. The first full memory begins like any other shift. Pietro Wilson clocks in. He performs routine diagnostics. He jokes with a colleague about Site 19's new coffee. Then the alarm sound, but it's not a breach. There is no anomaly loose, no external threat, only a directive broadcast to every terminal simultaneously. Begin global neutralization. Neutralization of what? Humanity. The command was distributed from O5 terminals, authenticated, confirmed, undeniable. Containment teams began executing staff. Security personnel sealed exits. Medical wings were purged, not with cruelty, but with efficiency. Pietro's log catches his confusion. I thought it was a test, some breach simulation, but they weren't using stun rounds. He watched co-workers dragged into decontamination chambers, watched Class Ds begging to help, only to be silenced. He watched a researcher try to barricade herself in Lab 3B. She didn't make it. In a panic, Pietro fled to an auxiliary bay. There, he found prototype suit 5000, a mobile utility exoframe originally designed for deep anomaly field exposure. He climbed in. As the room turned red with warning lights, the suit sealed around him, and just like that, he disappeared. SCP-5000 had no identifying Foundation tags. It blocked biometric scans. Its presence registered as environmental interference, and so Pietro walked out of the Foundation, completely invisible to it. Pietro Wilson's escape was not into safety. It was into something worse. A world unrecognizable. Outside Site 19, the cities were silent. Checkpoints stood empty. Roads were blocked with Foundation barricades, unmanned but bloodied. At first, he believed it was a quarantine, a cover-up gone wrong. But the deeper he moved into the heart of civilization, the more the truth became inescapable. The Foundation was wiping out humanity, methodically, quietly, no panic, no resistance. The suit allowed Pietro to move undetected. He wandered through shelters, hospitals, police stations. He found empty corridors, shattered glass, surveillance footage showing white-coated personnel euthanizing entire wings of patients. Every terminal he accessed said the same thing: containment priority, human vector, target class, ubiquitous, directive origin, O5. The logs didn't lie, and neither did the bodies. Even anomalies were being purged, not secured, not contained, erased. He found the remains of SCP-105's holding chamber, burned, collapsed. The Thaumiel-class vaults of Site-11 opened from the inside, nothing left but ash and the smell of ozone. And still, no reason. Pietro began chronicling his path. His logs became emotional. Fear, grief, desperation. They knew, they all knew. This isn't an error. This is policy. The world had become a ghost town with perfect servers. Everything still ran: clean water, power grids, automated announcements. But no laughter, no footsteps, just an invisible hand, completing the work. And all Pietro could do was walk and record and ask, why? In the ruins of Site 120's collapsed archives, Pietro found something he wasn't meant to see. A secure console, still powered, access only granted to O5 level biometrics. But the suit bypassed it. Hidden in encrypted subdirectories was a single document: O5 Memorandum, Contingency 0. Time-stamped 6 weeks before the first mass termination orders were issued. It detailed an internal discovery, something never made public. A conclusion drawn from deep anomalous behavior across hundreds of SCPs. From predictive patterns, chaotic shifts in reality, and recursive timelines. All signs pointed to a single revelation. Humanity was an anomaly. Not the kind that slips through portals or breaks causality, but the kind that shouldn't have existed at all. The universe was correcting itself, and the Foundation, whose purpose had always been to contain anomalies, was forced to face the ultimate paradox. They were protecting the one anomaly they could not secure: us. And so, the O5 Council chose compliance, not out of cruelty, but out of alignment. The document's final paragraph read, "We do not act out of hatred. We act out of understanding. The survival of the human race was always temporary. The anomalies were not the problem. We were. This is the last containment. May history forgive us." Pietro stopped logging for 3 days. The next entry was written by hand, scratched into the inner wall of the suit. They broke the world to keep it clean. He realized something else too. The anomalies weren't fighting back. They were vanishing, as if the universe itself had begun agreeing with the plan. Or worse, had always been part of it. By the 4th year of isolation, Pietro Wilson had become a myth. Rumors circulated among the few survivors scattered across the ruins of a ghost in a walking coffin, a silent figure moving through Foundation kill zones untouched. He had seen enough death to last 100 lifetimes, entire towns erased, safe anomalies used as bait for mass neutralization, surviving staff who defected, shot by former comrades now obeying blind automation. But Pietro had not given up. With the suit's remaining power, he accessed a long-range Foundation relay hub buried in the Andes. It was still operational, still linked to the Foundation's global communications grid. And he sent out a single unauthorized signal. "This is Pietro Wilson. I was one of you. I don't know what we became, but this wasn't protection. This was surrender. We failed our mission the moment we turned it inward. If you're alive, remember what we were. And if you're listening, please, tell me why." No response came, but the message continued looping, broadcast on old emergency channels, buried in broken satellites, drifting into the edges of forgotten systems. The suit was breaking down, its filtration system weakened. Its exo-frame collapsed in the Nevada dust, buried beneath the wreckage of a neutralized testing ground. The final entry in the log was a soft tone. No words, just ambient sound, like wind, or breath, or the fading heartbeat of a man who wanted to believe he hadn't become the monster, and then nothing. But in that silence, a message remained. The suit was found, the logs recovered, and the question left behind still echoes louder than any classified memo. Why? SCP-5000 is not a monster. It's not a virus, a rift, or a hostile entity. It's a record, a message sealed in steel. The confession of a man who walked through the end of the world, not to stop it, but to understand it. Pietro Wilson was not a hero. He didn't rebel with guns. He didn't destroy the Foundation's machines. He simply asked one question over and over until it was all he had left. Why? Why did the protectors turn against the protected? Why did the world end in silence, not fire? Why was obedience stronger than empathy? The Foundation's job was to contain what shouldn't exist. But in the end, it contained everything, even itself. And when the dust settled, when the anomalies were gone, when the people were no longer screaming, the only thing left was one man in a broken suit, asking the question no one wanted to answer. There is no containment class for guilt, no anomaly label for grief, no special protocol for realizing you were part of something you no longer understand. SCP-5000 is that realization, burned into data and buried beneath ruins. It is not dangerous. It cannot hurt you, but it will stay with you. Because some questions don't fade. They echo. Thank you for entering another anomaly in the containment zone. And if the systems ever go quiet, if the people around you start obeying without asking, if the protocols feel too easy to follow, remember Pietro, remember the suit, and ask yourself, before it's too late, why?